And welcome back to Stochastic Agency here on August 6th. My name is Brian, and we're still working away on the first week of RPG A Day 2022. Today's question is, how would you get more people playing RPGs? Well, one, got to find something that's free, or at least has a decent set of starter rules. And there's loads of games like that. The reason I say this is because at the very least, I fall into the camp that most people who are going to be introduced to RPGs should be introduced to actually seeing the material first and not just sitting down, rolling up the character and just hopping in and getting educated as you go. Learning always happens. Even advanced players learn something new every now and then because they may forget a rule. They may have never read a rule. They may have never really had a situation like this come up, and they might later on go back and consult the actual book. Heaven forbid we actually read the thing that we bought and understand what we're doing when we sit down at the table. So reading being fundamental, it doesn't have to be a complete overall $50 hardcover version. It just needs to have enough there to give it some teeth, to demonstrate the core rules of the game, so that when we sit down and play, you're not re-educating people over and over and over again. The other one is it has pre-generated characters. Yeah, it's great to sit down and make a character and get fascinated with the character's history and their backstory and what they are and who they were, and look at all these races when you're making something, getting ready to get in and play a new game. That's great. Let's put that off for a little bit later. Do you want to play a aggressive fighting type character? Do you want to play a researchy, magic usery, scientist-like character? Do you want to play the hacker / roguish / thief-like character? Whatever it may be, whatever system you're playing and whatever genre it is, the fact that you can just say, okay, here's a character like that. We're primarily going to use this first session just to learn and understand the rules. Next time we get together, if you guys are really interested in playing this game, we'll actually sit down the first time and make characters. But for this session 0, we're actually just going to focus on understanding what these dice are, when they get rolled, what you're going to roll when I ask you to make a roll, or when you should be asking if it is a roll. Anything that may be necessary to get someone introduced to what it is to play a role-playing game for the very first time. Actually sitting down at the table or in front of the camera like we are now and interacting with people. It's great to have all the focus on role-playing and interacting as a character and all this immersion that's going on. But when the rubber meets the road, it's still a game. And the game needs to be simple enough to learn how to teach, learn how to play, and sitting down and just diving into it is not always the best experience. In fact, I've had more than a few occasions where somebody was like, why didn't I have a copy of this book before? Or isn't there a digital copy I can read? Are there free rules that I can actually take a look at and understand the game a little bit more? Most of the people that I actually have had in my groups over the years are more interested in trying a game for the first time when they have access to it. So, starter kits, pre-generated characters, a very accurate but condensed version of the game rules, and starting scenarios. It doesn't have to be an adventure. It doesn't have to be some kind of grand Lord of the Rings adventure across the realms type of setup. It just has to be a few set pieces. If I've been playing long enough and I'm introducing a new group of people to a game system that I'm comfortable with, I don't need all the interwoven tissue between what's going on over here and what's going on over here. I just need a few locations, maybe specific opponents to interact with, and a goal. That's it. I'll make the rest up and get it to stick together and make sense. Because after all, this first game for introduction, I'm not expecting anybody to get very far. I'm not expecting everybody to get everything the first time they sit down and play. But condensed rules, resources, creatures, locations, NPCs, and pre-generated characters. If this is going to take place online, I need all that stuff digitally. I need everyone to have the same ability to look at the same information I'm looking at when I look at the starter kit, to be able to say, okay, you remember when it was talking about this in the book? Okay, no really need to open it up right now, but everybody get a chance to take a look at it. If you get a lot of no's, I know. There's this popular opinion that since you're the dungeon master or you're the game master or whatever they want to call you, it's your job to teach how to play the game. It's not always the case. Everybody should have some kind of initiative to be proactive when they are sitting down at the table to learn the game for the first time. But that's really what I need. If a game does not have condensed free rules as a starter set, or I have to make all the starting characters, or there's limited access to other resources like NPCs, monsters, and how to build locations, or whatever the game system requires you to play, it's probably not a game I'm going to be very interested in trying to introduce people to for the first time. Less work, the better that you have to do out of the gate. Easier it is to focus on everyone's activities at the table. So that being said, I think that's about all I can wrap up. So here we are, winding in on August 6th, getting close to the last day, first week of RPG A Day 2022. Same thing as always, get out there, play more games, have a lot more fun, and just try and be good to each other.